Sometimes letting it out can make a big difference.
Oh yes.
And sometimes you gotta let your heart speak.
You gotta let your heart speak. You gotta let it out. No matter what you're going through. Yeah. I know how you feel. I know it's hard to reveal. But let your heart speak. Sex, they say no. Yes, Joe, love knows. Joe, the pain goes, love knows. It's Joe, the pain goes, love knows.
Do you believe in second chances? Would you forgive and accept a man who walked away from his responsibility and left you several times? And if that man returns repentant and asking for another chance, would you forgive him and take him back? Where does one stand when love is challenged to forgiveness and when another chance can save a relationship from the regret of what could have been? This is the story of Kevin. Hi, I'm Joe the Mango. Hello and welcome to another episode of Love Notes. Dear Joe, just call me Kevin. I'm in my mid-30s and currently unemployed. I lost my job as a department head of a multinational corporation some months back. I guess it was karma that brought me to where I am right now. My story began when I met Trisha, a college student at a Manila night spot several years back. Trisha was so fun to be with, and she saw beauty in almost every little thing, and she had no pretensions in life. We became really close and we would tell each other secrets. But I never told her about Myra, who was another girl I was seeing. Soon, Trisha and I became more than just friends, Joe. At first, I thought she was just another fling. But it became clear to me as time went by that we were both falling for each other. Joe, she gave herself to me, but I still could not tell her about Myra. It wasn't long when Trisha found out about my relationship with Myra. Trisha started to become paranoid. She would constantly argue with me about her. She began to closely inspect all my things. She would look into my car, my pockets, my wallet, my bag, the messages in my devices, everywhere. She started becoming so emotional, crying all the time, even at the slightest things. So I began to take business trips that became more frequent, just so I could see less of her and more of Myra. Little did I know, Joe, that Trisha was carrying a little life in her womb, our first child. But I wasn't ready yet to commit myself to that huge responsibility. Besides, I was still seeing Myra. So Joe, she gave birth to our son without me. No, she didn't leave me, Joe. I left them. I stopped communicating with Trisha because I was afraid that her family would force me to marry her. Meanwhile, I continued with my bachelor's lifestyle with Myra, of course, and I've had other relationships with different women at that time. But Joe, every so often, I would dream of a little boy crying and calling out my name, which I tried very hard to ignore. 2 years later, I bumped into Trisha at the mall. She was tagging along behind Joey, who looked exactly like the little boy I saw in my dreams. After my initial shock, I asked Trisha if we could meet and see each other again. When she formally introduced me to my son, Joey, he even called me Dad right away. and he kissed me goodbye when it was time for me to go. After that meeting, I told myself I should man up for what I did. Trisha's family welcomed me back like nothing had happened. I would spend nights with them and cook and play and sing with my son. Trisha and I started to date, and for the second time, she became pregnant. Joe, the shock of the second pregnancy stirred up something inside me. And my old fear of commitment came back rushing in. I ran away from her and from Joey and went back to my old ways. Trisha tried to talk it out with me, but I was too immature to listen, too busy with my career and my women, particularly Myra. So for the second time, again, without me by her side, Trisha gave birth to a baby girl, and she named her Beige. Joe, for months I denied to everyone, including my office mates and my friends, that I had children with Trisha, or any other woman for that matter. I knew this hurt her and my kids, but I just couldn't bring myself to accept that responsibility. Besides, I didn't want to hurt Myra. It was cruel. Bad deeds don't reap good rewards, Joe. Several months after I left my family, I lost my job. The bank repossessed my car. My so-called friends left me one after the other. And Myra? Well, she left me too. 2 months after I became jobless, it became clear she was just after what I had when I still had work. One day, Joe, I decided to call Trisha, and Joey answered the phone. I asked him how they had been, and what he told me broke me into pieces. Joey said his mom was getting married. I asked Joey if he liked the guy, and he said no. And Trisha confirmed that she was engaged to this man she met at a party. I begged her for another chance. She told me that she still loved me, but was just too afraid of getting hurt again. Joe, what should I do? I recently heard that Trisha has broken off her engagement with the other man, but she hasn't told me that she's ready to resume our relationship. Every night I would dream about all of us together, me, her, our children, one happy family. But I know I've hurt them deeply, and I think I've lost them, especially the only woman who never hurt me all her life, who has always been there and loved me despite my shortcomings and lies. Joe, is it too late to prove that I can be a good husband and a good father to my children? I hope Trisha is listening right now. And if she is, I just want to tell her that I love her so much. Kisses to our little angels. Joe, thank you for taking time to read my letter. More power to you and to your program. May you continue to be a blessing to a lot of lost souls. Sincerely yours, Kevin. Kevin, sometimes we wonder why those who take advantage of others seem to live their lives at its fullest and still get away with the wrong that they do. The fact is, God gives us the freedom to do anything we want. Everything is permissible. But we have to remember that not everything permissible is beneficial to us. In many ways, God never tires to remind us that as free as we are to do as we wish, we will never be free from the consequences of our choices. and we would ultimately be held accountable for everything that we do towards other people. Your children and their loving and forgiving mother should have given you more than enough reason to have a change of heart. Their presence alone should have reminded you that you have to stop thinking only of your own needs and start to work towards giving them the faithfulness, the love, and the attention they rightfully deserve. Kevin, you have stubbornly turned your back on your responsibilities and you lost your job, Myra, and now you're about to lose your family that you should have cared for in the first place. You have worshipped yourself and only lived for that which satisfied your ego and your desires, in complete disregard of your responsibility to exercise what you know in your heart was the right thing to do. Kevin, it's easy for you to say, "I love you so much" to Trisha. But for the longest time, the only person that you loved is yourself. I can continue telling you how I and many of our listeners and viewers are feeling right now, but I won't. Because all of us, we all make terrible mistakes. And sometimes, God takes away everything from us so we can realize the value of everything He gave us. Now you know where you have gone wrong. Kevin, you haven't lost your family. They have lost you. But it's never too late to find yourself again, to come back to them. Honestly, I don't think there is any mistake that one person is truly repentant about, that love cannot forgive. The reason that Trisha called off her wedding was probably because she was still hoping that there could be a second chance for all of you to be a family again. I believe that everyone deserves a chance to redeem themselves. Kevin, this may be your last and only opportunity not to make the same mistake again. Every moment of our lives is a second chance to be a better person. There are two kinds of forgiveness. One that gives the offending person a chance to do what is right, and one that forgives but moves on and walks away forever. I hope that Trisha will find in her heart the reason to give you a chance to do the right thing. For unless we forgive someone's darkness, we will never really know what love is. You may have lost everything, Kevin, but you're still a father to Joey and Paige, and you could still be a deserving husband to Trisha. I know that God can and will restore your family if you genuinely repent, turn from your old ways, and keep up with everything that you were sorry for. Your life can only change to the degree that you accept responsibility for the wrong that you have done. May God be with you, Kevin, as you make this choice to be responsible for the family you were once afraid to have. And I pray that Trisha, your son and your daughter, may embrace you in forgiveness as you promise to be the father that you never were, and that you will treasure them, love them, and never leave them again. Till next week, this is Joe Domingo saying thank you for joining us today. Have a great week ahead of you, and we'll see you again next Tuesday. God bless you.
Sometimes
Sometimes,
letting it out can make a big difference.
oh yes,
And sometimes you gotta let your heart speak.
you gotta let your heart speak. You gotta let it out, no matter what you're going through. Yeah. I know how you feel. I know it's hard to reveal, but let your heart speak. 6 days, say yes, trust.